right, I'll see you in a
Welcome, parents and guardians, to the ABCs of APs and Honors. We're thrilled you're joining us tonight. There's lots of seating in the middle and toward the front. This is a 1-hour event, and I'm the principal of TAM. My name is Sam Passero. I'm psyched to be with you here this evening. I was here at this event last year, and we're going to do it a little better than last year. Like I said, it's a 1-hour event. There's a ton of information. Let's send some appreciation to the TAM Boosters' dad, Derek Scobie, who's recording the meeting for us right now. I'll send out not just the slides, but also the recording. So anything you miss, you'll have in your inbox this weekend. We've got our panelists, many of whom are department chairs. We have our head counselor who's going to say a few words at the beginning. Each panelist is going to get up and talk about the offerings in their respective departments. Folks, we each have about 5 minutes, and I'll be signaling you if you're kind of hitting the end of that. We ask guardians and parents to hold their questions until the end of until we hear from Mr. Gilmore about visual arts at the end. Raise your hand if you're here because your student is currently an 8th grader, please. 7th grader. Okay, we had a bet. 9th grader. Any parents of freshmen here tonight? Welcome. Thank you. 10th graders, please. Okay. Any parents of juniors here tonight? All right. Welcome. Awesome. Let's get this started. We have our head counselor. She's been in TAM for over 22 years. She knows everything about the program. Put your hands together for head counselor Alex Hunt.
Hi, everybody. So you guys got some emails from me this week, yes? Yeah, a big one yesterday. You got a big one the week before, maybe. You're going to get another one tomorrow morning from me, something to look forward to. But we are starting the scheduling process. And so as part of that, especially as freshmen and sophomore parents, you kind of want to know, like, what are the decisions we need to make for our kids so that they are both going to graduate, they can maybe have options for after high school, including four-year colleges, hopefully competitive ones, and also that we need them to be healthy and happy and balanced. Yes? Yeah. So that is the key here. We have tons of AP and Honors classes. That doesn't mean you have to take them all. In fact, please don't. Please don't, all right? I get a lot of questions from parents saying, well, how many AP and Honors classes does a student have to take to get into this certain college? And there is actually no answer to that question, all right? Because balance is key, and also colleges want a well-rounded kid who challenges themselves in their area of interest, both inside and outside of school, but also you still have to have time for your sports and your activities and, you know, being nice to your parents, not killing them, and still getting like 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, hopefully more. So everybody's balance, by the way, is different. Some people might not have a lot going on after school, so maybe they can take a little bit more rigor. Others might have, like, you know, way too many things going on after school, and therefore maybe less rigor in school. It all balances out, but everyone's is different. So my friend's doing this or my friend's doing that doesn't really apply when it comes to picking classes. In my email that I sent you guys, you have the course guide up there as one of the links, and the info hub that has everything in there. A course guide has a description of every class we have and the prerequisites for it, okay? So AP and Honors classes, by the way, a lot of people ask what the difference is, and for the most part, there is no difference, like rigor-wise. So Honors classes denote that a course is more advanced. It has more homework, it will take more critical thinking, and you get an extra GPA bump for the honors class. The curriculum for an honors class was designed by teachers in our district. AP classes get the same GPA bump, are also considered rigorous, same amount of like work, you know what I mean, and critical thinking. The AP curriculum is prescribed by the College Board. and we have to teach their curriculum. At the end of an AP class, you have the option of taking an AP exam in May. Optional, has nothing to do with your grade in the class. And if you pass that test with a 3, 4, or 5 out of 5, you have the possibility of earning college credit for that class when you apply to colleges, or when you go, rather. But is AP harder than honors? Not necessarily, you know what I mean? Ms. Sharp's honors US history class in AIM, brutal. Fun and great, but really hard, you know what I mean? So, no, honors and AP, both awesome. Please don't take them all. Because like I said, balance. Also, for the UCs and CSUs, our California public school systems, they only honor 8 semesters of AP or honors in terms of their GPA calculation. So kids can take more, sure, and they see that, absolutely, they see it. But when they calculate a GPA for that student, they only count 8 semesters, which comes out to 4 AP and honors classes. All right, so something to consider. Also, they don't give credit, they don't give a GPA bump for lower division honors classes. For instance, honors advanced algebra is considered a lower division class. So they don't give the GPA bump for that. However, all private schools in the country take ours, and they do count it, because we do. Something to put out there. I'm going to say a lot of statements that are a yes, but also this, or a no, but yes. You know what I mean? I'm always going to give you kind of both sides of it. So junior year is generally the more rigorous of the years as we move up. You know what I mean? Colleges expect upward trajectory. So don't take 5 AP and honors classes junior year and then 2 senior year. They don't want to see that go down. So that also might make you want to say, okay, maybe we don't go crazy junior year. You know what I mean? Like slow and steady. Or even consistent is fine, but not up and down like a roller coaster. That doesn't look good. That poses questions for them. And in general, your transcript should be kind of a reflection of who you are and what you love. You know what I mean? 2-dimensionally. Please, you are not just this one piece of paper. But if you are a person who loves science classes, then take a bunch of science classes. You know what I mean? If you're a person who loves art, take a bunch of art. Art, by the way, is academic. All of our art classes are considered academic and get put into the GPA. And if you love art and you apply to school and you want to go to be an art major, and then they see a bunch of science classes on their transcript, they're going to be confused and they're going to think you don't know who you are. Okay, there's a big difference between like coming up with a narrative about who you are, which by the way should be authentic, versus doing what you think looks good or what you should be doing. They see right through that. All right, we don't want to go down that formulaic path. Everybody is different, and we are really good at spinning things to make you look good. So you don't worry about what looks good. We will. All right? Did I get everything for the most part right now? Yeah, I will take a lot of questions at the end. But thank you.
Maybe Alex can help me look good. Thank you, Ms. Hunt. Our next presentation is from Margie Brindley. She's also our advisor for mock trial. So Ms. Brindley's going to present and then leave. Another math teacher may arrive and Alex can answer some questions. It's the down button. There you are.
All right, welcome everybody. So, math. Okay, so we have several honors courses and AP courses in our department. The first opportunity for kids to do honors work is honors advanced algebra, which is what I teach a lot of. And it's this curriculum is almost the same in content as regular advanced algebra, except there are a couple extra topics, and the depth that we go into each topic is way more. And so when students ask me, is honors advanced algebra way harder than regular advanced algebra? The answer is yes, it is. A lot harder. So when students come into it and say, I want to do it for the grade bump, or because my friend's doing it, not a good idea, okay? Because you really have to, like I say, if you're thinking about math while you're taking a shower or eating your breakfast, that's the class for you, right? If you're doing it and you go, I really hate math. It's like, well, why are you in an honors class? That's my first question, right? So There are no tests to get into honors classes, but in general, you need to have had an A or a B in for honors advanced algebra in geometry and algebra 1. Just overall, you got to come in knowing all your algebra 1 material like the back of your hand, because you won't be able to access the material without that. So let's see what we got next. Okay, honors pre-calculus, I would say is the most rich and perhaps challenging course at TAM. It's, again, similar topics as regular pre-calculus, but it's at a very, very, very deep level. And so you guys can see up there what it is. It expands on advanced algebra, but it also introduces trigonometry and the unit circle. And it's basically a preparation for calculus A, B, and BC. It's also good for SAT prep. So guys, again, if you love math, take this class. I can't tell you the number of kids who go into it and they say, this is horrible, this is too hard, this is too hard. It's like, if you don't look at something hard and say, yes, this is a challenge, I want to learn it. If you look at something hard and say, this is too hard, then don't torture yourself, okay? Because it is very hard. But for students who love math, it is amazing. These classes are absolutely amazing. So in order to sign up for this class, again, no test, you really need to have, if you're coming from regular advanced algebra to honors pre-calculus, that's a gigantic leap. So I would say, it says here, students need an A- or better, or a grade of B or better in honors advanced algebra. Okay, Calc AB. So after pre-calculus, you can take calculus AB, and like Ms. Hunt said, these are AP courses. So they're courses that you're following a college curriculum, and you're taking a test usually at the end. If you do take Calc AB, you are strongly encouraged to take the test, even though it's optional, not really. So basically, this is sort of like the top level of our courses here. So the kids are getting it one semester of college calculus over the course of a year. Okay, so it goes a little slower than actual calculus, but it can count as 1 year if you pass the AP as 1 year of calculus. So, and here you need to have gotten a C- or better in regular pre-calc. Okay, sorry, I feel like I'm going too slow. Okay, Calc BC, that is not for the faint of heart. That is basically twice as fast as Calc AB. So it's AB in the fall and BC in the spring, and it's basically you basically are doing 2 semesters of calculus. You're basically doing like as if you were taking a challenging calculus course in college. Don't take it unless you just killed it in honors pre-calculus. Seriously, like it goes so fast, and kids who love that, it's awesome. But if you're struggling, it's not fun. Ask any student in an honors course if they're struggling. It's painful. Okay, it is painful. So again, you just have to evaluate what kind of math student you are and how much you want to take on the challenge. So again, you should get for BC, you have to have gotten a B- or better in pre-calculus. But honestly, if you don't get an A, I wouldn't take BC. That's what I would say, just even though that's not technically a qualification. Okay. And last but not least, there's AP Statistics, which is an amazing class. And it's a math class, but it's also a social science class. So if you're thinking of doing anything in social sciences, like econ or psychology or communications or anything like that, this is an incredible class. There's some math, but a lot of it is just analyzing data, and it's really good real world kind of stuff. So even if you're not a super mathy person, but you love thinking critically about articles you read in the paper and, what did this study show? That is a great class to take. Like, they didn't have AP Stat when I was in school, but I totally would have taken it. And most people need to take a stat class and some type of math class in college. And this could be it. If you don't love math and you want to get your stat requirement over with, you can take this and then take the AP. So very, very, very worthwhile class. Okay. I think that's it.
All right, thank you.
Yay. Go mock trial.
Thank you, Margie. We're now going to hear from Mr. Garfink, who's going to walk us through the AP and honors options in social science.
Hi, everybody. I'm Charlie Garfink. I teach social studies, obviously, at TAM. I also teach one of the AP courses. We have a limited number of AP courses in the social studies department. However, my daughter, who went to Archie, they had one AP history class, and like her father, she loved history. And when she found out that we taught 3 here, she was upset. She was very jealous. She's like, what? What is this, crazy? She felt like she was ripped off. So I think there are 3 quality courses. All of them are worthwhile taking. So let us begin. The most important AP course that you could take would probably be AP US History, APUSH, as it's called here. It is a graduation requirement anyhow, taking US History, so it ticks off that box as well as covering an AP course. It is sort of the entry level of social studies AP courses, and it is the most rigorous of the 3 courses that we teach. It is a college level course for juniors in high school. It is taught like a college level course. It is very fast paced. As you see, 20 to 30 pages of reading a week in a college level textbook. It prepares the students for an AP exam. It is not required that you take the AP exam, not required, but you can take it. It's a good thing if you're going to do well, if you like this. And as Ms. Dolan, who's the teacher of this, says, the only requirement is a genuine interest in the subject matter and a willingness to work hard. It is a hard course, but as she says, and I can double this with the students I know who've taken it from her before, students feel it's worth it in the end. It really prepares them way more beyond just the subject matter, taking the AP test, essay writing, being able to seek out primary source documents, secondary source documents, et cetera, et cetera. It's just a great AP course to take if you're interested in history and want to pursue it. If world history was something you thought, this is easy, I got this, I can do this, APUSH is a really good 11th grade course. Moving on. You'll detect a theme in these because this course is near and dear to my heart as I teach it. It is AP European History. It is an elective course for juniors and seniors, as it says. Covers European history from the Renaissance to the modern day. It does cover some of the same things that were covered in world history, but in a much more in-depth manner. It also goes into areas of European history that aren't touched on, particularly Eastern Europe and the Ottoman Empire and things like that. Also explores more greatly Europe's effect on the world, going all the way up to the present day, the legacy of European history. It also includes a lot of homework, 15 to 25 pages of college level text reading per week. However, it's a little less rigorous than APUSH. I treat it really as a college course. I run the course like I remember my college courses, and it was a long time ago, but I do remember the courses. A lot of in-depth discussions, some project work involved. It's not just all tests. We do the AP test preparation too. We do the DBQs and the LEQs and the short answer questions and the tricks on how to do well on the test. It is optional. Most of the students who take it, though, take the test, do pretty well because they're interested in history. Again, no prerequisites except an avid interest in history. And yeah, that's it. If they have any questions, your student are welcome to come by and speak to me. And then the last course that we teach is AP African American Studies. This is the newest course. This was just developed by the AP 3 years ago, I think. So this will be the 3rd year we were presenting it here at TAM. As Ms. Dolan likes to say, this is your entry-level AP history course. The AP people who came up with the course really wanted to design it to make it accessible to all people, so that people who aren't necessarily interested in history may approach this and want to learn more about the subject matter and may pique their interest in history. So it is the least rigorous of the courses. It is still rigorous. However, it is thought of as like, you could think of it like you want to take an AP history course, but you're not sure how intense you want to do the readings. This might be the one to go with. It explores the diversity of Black experiences. I haven't taught it yet, but you may have noticed Ms. Dolan and I are next door to each other, the 2 AP teachers. And I walk by sometimes when they're doing some of the subject matter, and I want to take the course. I'm like, wow, what's going on in there? This is really interesting. So it's a neat course. It covers all the things from history to film to music to art, etc., which is kind of nice. I think that's about all I have to say. Like I said, we're right next door to each other, so if you have any questions, you can stop into either one of us. And I hope your students are as into history as I am, because it's a lot of fun. So, we do.
Thank you, Charlie. And now we're going to hear from Mr. Quinn Bro. Mr. Bro, come on down. He's going to talk to us about the science options.
Hi guys, welcome. So we have quite a few honors and AP options in the science department. So I'm going to quickly go through some of those. If you are a rising 10th grade parent, we have 2 honors options that are available for you guys. Honors Physio and Honors Physics, and then I'll talk about all these other ones as we get there. Honors Physio, the really cool thing about this Honors Physio course and the Honors Physics course is that if you want to be in honors, you don't even sign up for honors when you're actually doing your course request. You just say, once you get into class on the very first day, Ms. Backer or Mr. Ginsberg, the respective teachers for those courses, would say, hey, who wants to be in honors? And if you raise your hand and you say, I am, and then as long as you can commit to doing the work, which in honors physiology is actually looking at scientific journals, doing I think actually 5 hours of medical experience in a field related to physiology outside of class each semester, a little bit more extensive. If you can commit to that and follow through on those commitments for the entire year, then you're in honors. And if at any point you feel like you can't follow through on those commitments, you just tell Ms. Becker, hey, I need to drop out. And that's also the same case for the honors physics course. So really quickly, just to talk about what they learn in honors physiology, it's all about human anatomy as well as how the body functions. So if students are really interested in maybe pursuing a medical degree or going into the medical field after school or after high school, this is a really great kind of intro course, crash course into the human body. Also very rigorous note-taking skills and really great organizational skills because Ms. Backer happens to also teach AVID, which is all about academic organization. So really cool course there. However, if you are squeamish, they do a lot of dissections. I, for one, am one of those people. I smell the formaldehyde for the fetal pigs, and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. But it's a really hands-on, really cool lab-based class. So honors, like I said, is all you gotta do is just sign an honors contract, and if you ever can't fulfill that contract, you just tell Ms. Backer, hey, I'm not cut out for this. I'd rather be in on level, and you're in the same exact class. You don't actually have to shift out of the class periods or anything. You just don't have that honors distinction in your transcript anymore. So honors physics, this is, if your students are taking physics in the universe currently, this is like the actual big kid physics. It's all math based. They kind of treat it like a visit to the exploratorium. So every single class as you go in, you start out with a demo, and then you try to actually unpack like what is happening through conceptual explanations as well as supporting those observations through math. So there is a lot of math involved. I would definitely recommend taking this class if you feel like you're math oriented or if you're not afraid of math. As far as honors, I think the distinction is that you do a little bit more in-depth modules, so going beyond kind of just the basics physics concepts and applying it a little bit more in-depth. AP Biology, this is the first of the or this is one of the AP distinction courses that you could take. This is typically for juniors and seniors because sophomores don't have prerequisites for this class yet. You need to have done Living Earth and battery died. I'll try and use my teacher voice, but so we've got you need to have taken the Living Earth, which is the sophomore graduation requirement, and the Physics in the Universe, which is your freshman physics requirement. But then if you've done those and you're concurrently enrolled, I believe, in advanced algebra, you can sign up for AP Bio. Fantastic intro course for anybody who's thinking about pursuing medical field after college in addition to physiology. So a really cool thing about AP, as you've heard these other folks say, is you can earn college credit for taking this class right now. And as we all know, college credits are expensive. So it's like you can go into college with 20 units If you're, take the test to prove, hey, I've actually learned this at a college level. So AP Biology is one of those AP courses. We also have AP Chemistry. This is actually reserved for seniors because one of the graduation requirements is chemistry in the Earth, which is a junior graduation requirement. So this course builds off of what you learn in that chemistry in the Earth course. A lot more rigorous. It is, you definitely are going to be doing some calculus, doing a lot of math when you're doing a lot of these, learning these concepts. What's really cool about this class is it's extremely hands-on. There's, I think Ms. McBride has 16 different labs that you run throughout the course of 2 semesters. So there is a lot of opportunity for hands-on experimentation. And then, if you pass that course at the end of the year, which Ms. McBride does a really great job of setting students up for, 80% of students pass with a 3 or higher compared to 51% nationally. So it really sets your students up for success with this course. But like I said, this is reserved for seniors only. So if you're thinking about taking it, then kind of plan this as your end goal. Last AP class we have is actually a class that I teach. This is AP Environmental Science. I think it's a really, really fun class, particularly if you're interested in the environment. If you're kind of going in there being like, oh, we're learning about the environment, how hard can it be? There's a lot to know about the environment. So the depth of knowledge, or the breadth of knowledge rather, is pretty expansive. But we go through a lot of pretty important and really interesting topics. Does a lot of blend of the hard sciences as well as dipping into the social sciences, talking about how we make decisions regarding the environment. So it brings a lot of the conversation to current events and tying it into to kind of everyday things. Purpose of this class is definitely to pass the AP exam, but also part of another thing that can make your student a really dynamic candidate for college is community service. So one of the features of this class is that you're required to do 5 hours of community service per semester in an environmentally related field. And ideally, that is their jumping off point into just getting momentum to look for those experiences and seek out those experiences on their own. Because I always tell my students, hey, if you want to set yourself apart from all the other people who have a 4.22 GPA and do 3 sports after school, this is one of the ways to do that. So, that's that.
Thank you, Mr. Bro. We have Miss Dietz, who's going to talk to us about our upper division English options. Welcome, Miss Dietz. There's your button down. Yep.
Hi, I'm Barbara Dietz, and I am the TL for the English department. We only have 2 AP classes in English, and people often ask, well, should I take it or shouldn't? Well, anyone is eligible to take our English classes. We used to have admissions requirements. You had to have A or B in their previous classes and a recommendation of instructor. But we opened it up a number of years ago. Kind of similarly to math, though, I would say that students want to feel comfortable with doing high level and a lot of reading. They should be folks who enjoy reading and really want to work on improving their writing. They should have great general academic study habits. So the rigor of the AP class really truly is, whether you're taking AP English Language and Comp or AP Literature, they are college level classes. And so oftentimes students have a shock coming into their junior year, the level of work that they have taking an AP class. If you're coming in as a senior taking an AP class, you might be a little bit more comfortable at that work level. So if your students feel like they are okay with balancing and juggling their workload in school in general, as well as in English in particular, then AP might be a chance for them. However, I'd like to advocate that all our courses in the English department have a high level of rigor, and all of them will very well prepare your student for work across the disciplines in college. So there's a big difference between AP language and composition and AP literature and composition, and oftentimes people don't understand what that is. AP literature and composition is sort of what it sounds like. That is a course that's a sort of standard literature-based class where you'll be reading a range of genre of literature. So maybe short story and poetry and novels and plays. It's sort of what you might expect from the English class. Probably all of you parents, right, took literature classes in college, basically set up that way. And students might read a little bit of nonfiction literature to augment the literature. So maybe they'll read information, biographical backgrounds to the authors, or socio-political context, or read articles on the themes, right, of the literature. But fundamentally, it's a literature-based course, and once they've read that literature, they're going to be developing their skills in expository writing and argument writing, specifically the literary analysis essay. Whereas AP English Language and Composition is really a nonfiction-based class. It is a great AP English class to take, whether your student is sort of that, go-getter, right, English literature, spends time in their summers reading really thick, novels at the beach. I don't care whether that novel is, a fantasy fiction set on Mars with like medieval characters and bears. But if they're spending, right, that much time reading, they're probably going to do okay in that AP Lit. The AP Language and Composition really is open to any student. So if your student is a STEM student and the literature-based classes, maybe they're hemming and hawing, then AP English Language and Composition will build the students' expository reading skills. So they'll really build a very much higher order, sophisticated, academic way of reading difficult, high lexical level essays, classic essays from back in history, the Great American Documents, contemporary journal articles from fields, from professionals in different professional fields, and journalism. And so it really opens up students to a higher order level of reading that might not be the textbook, right, but nonfiction work. And that's helpful in all kinds of adult professional life, but certainly in academics across the disciplines. So if your student is more of a STEM student and they're thinking about taking an AP class as a junior, that might be a great inroads to English AP. Either of these classes can be taken in either junior or senior year. So there's no particular order, although there's been a history and a sort of pattern of people taking AP English Language and Comp their junior year and Lit their senior year. But there's no reason to do that. You don't have to do that. We really like to break students out of it. A couple more things to say about the AP Literature and Composition. They really look at AP Literature and Composition, and not only at the big themes of the literature, but at how great authors compose and create their texts, looking at literary devices, skills of descriptive writing, figurative language, organization, perspectives, alternative narrative structures, right? Very kind of detailed aspects. So although, yes, they're looking at the big themes and issues and great ideas, some of our CP classes, those college prep classes, really have students delve much more into the big ideas and the themes. And so if your student loves literature but maybe doesn't want to get into the nitty-gritty as much, some of the CP classes might be a great alternative to taking that AP literature class. The AP Language and Composition class, a couple more details about it. Yes, we use a textbook in this class, partly, but very limited. The textbook is really only to get used to the sort of metacognition framework of what is rhetorical analysis. The class is a nonfiction-based course where you're looking at how do great authors, how do great thinkers, how do great cultural critics express their ideas and create great arguments to help convince others of their socio-political opinions or psychological understanding of the world, etc. And so the students learn what it takes for a great writer to really communicate and persuade and convince about important social and political contemporary issues in our society. And then they get to create their own arguments, develop their own opinions, and then write their own either essays or newspaper articles or create debate speeches to try to convince others of their position on these topics. They also get to do a research project, so they, in all of the classes, they do some form of research, and so that's usually a kind of college-level research project, whether they're producing a 5-page paper, a 10-page paper, or a 25-page paper. They're all going to be at college level and are really quite rigorous. So I think that's it. That's both of our classes. Should your student take AP? Honestly, if it's going to make keeping up their learning, their academic involvement in all their other classes, I would say no. They don't have to take an AP English class. Maybe they're going to take a math class, or maybe they're going to take a science class, or take AP Art History. It's not a requirement to take AP English Language their junior year, although some people feel like it is. There are other great English classes. Please consider all of them, both the AP and non-AP, and I can answer questions about the differences later.
Thank you, Ms. Dietz. We're doing bad instruction right now. We're talking at you and really flexing your attention span. So hang with us. And next up on World Languages, Alberto Aparicio.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alberto Aparicio. I'm the teacher of AP Spanish this year. I've come from Spain, so first of all, sorry about my accent, but that makes me proud of our identity, and this is my identity. And this is what I try to inspire all my kids in the class, no matter what, the way you talk, no matter what, the way you look. The important thing here is to learn Spanish and to try to look to the future. So I'm gonna just try to present the courses. We have like 5 courses, 2 courses of honors class each for French and Spanish. And also we have another 2 courses for AP Language and Culture, French and Spanish, and 1 more course of AP Literature, Spanish. I'm going to try just to talk about a little bit of all of them in this presentation. So French AP and Spanish AP Language and Culture. As my colleague said before, these courses are not a requirement, but if your kids are just are pursuing any humanities career, any psychology, social studies, economic history, even science, learning a second language, knowing a second language is going to be very helpful just down the road, even just for job markets and possibilities. So I'm going to try to talk a little bit about these courses. Why students should take Spanish or French? Well, they want to continue learning. They want to continue their language journey and being motivated towards achieving fluency. This is my own experience. When I came to the United States 11 years ago, November 29, 2014, 12 it's going to be now. This year, I barely spoke in English. I was 44 or 43. I don't remember. I went back to college and I learned English. I'm speaking in front of you in my second language. And that's what I want to inspire to all my students throughout the entire sequence, and even more so with these courses, so they can achieve fluency. I currently have in my classes almost bilingual students that can defend themselves in Spanish very, very well and properly. So students, these courses are for students who are curious about other cultures and perspectives. And for students who want to go abroad, we have a program here, a global exchange program, and we have a yearly trip to Spain, mostly for juniors and seniors because they are level ready just to go to Spain, jump in the pool, jump in the real world, and talk to people and families they're going to be with there in Spain and talk to them in the language. Otherwise, it can be very challenging for freshmen and sophomores if they are in a different country and with a different environment just to navigate through the language and the culture. This is also very convenient, very suitable, I'd say, for native and heritage speakers. We have two pathways in Spanish program. We have the native speaker pathway, and in the other lane, the regular non-Spanish speaking students. In both sequence, when they reach third year Spanish, 5-6, Spanish 5-6 or French 5-6, they can just pursue AP courses and honor courses later on in their pathway. Okay? A little bit more about French. French is for students who have completed French 8, which is the fourth year of the sequence, and for students who have successfully completed French 6, third year of the sequence. In this case, you can jump the requirement for French 8 with a teacher recommendation. For instance, it's the same for Spanish. I have students who are sophomores currently, like 4 or 5, although it's recommended that juniors and seniors take the AP courses. But they're coming from immersion schools. In middle school, they're mostly bilinguals, and with a teacher recommendation, they can jump into the AP courses at the sophomore year. Okay, AP Spanish is more the same like French, it's mirroring the French. The prerequisites is for Spanish A, B, A minus or better, or for Spanish 6, which is third year Spanish. With a teacher recommendation, they can go into AP classes. What do you need to know about the class? I forgot to change this. Primarily is not word there. It's 100% taught in Spanish. Full immersion. No single word in Spanish or French. So that's going to create the perfect environment for students to absorb, to grasp all content and try to product a language and produce language. So they're going to learn and they're going to listen, they're going to read a lot of materials, authentic texts from the Spanish-speaking world, and they're going to immerse themselves as much as possible outside the class. Like I said, we have an exchange program with Pamplona coming now in spring break. Also with the AIM classes, there's a trip is social science. I think the social science is the subject, and they are going to Cuba. So what better place not only to learn social science, what better place like Cuba to practice Spanish? So everything is interconnected, so this is a good possibility for that. And in the AP classes, the class is designed towards the AP exam. As my colleague said before, it's not required to take the exam. It's highly recommended because they're going to learn the 4 basic skills: speaking, listening, writing, and speaking, listening, writing, and what is the 4th one? I'm forgetting right now. I'm blanking out right now. Speaking, writing, listening, reading. There you go. Thank you. Reading. So they're gonna just tap on all the 4 skills, and they're gonna get ready, and they're gonna talk about a huge variety of topics: global challenges, public identities and personal identities, families and communities, and they're gonna be able to debate, to discuss, to reflect, to write essays like they do in English, like my English colleague was talking, with a 5-paragraph composition, everything in Spanish. So they're gonna get ready for the exam. This is like a small picture of what the exam might look like. And these are the themes or the units they're gonna be learning. I just talked about them a little bit earlier: personal and public identity. science and technology, global challenges, contemporary life, beauty and aesthetics, families and communities. So I strongly recommend, if your children are going to pursue any humanities, economy, science career in the future, just if they want to love languages, to take the AP classes. But I strongly recommend you to advise it not to do it online. I have like a few students who dropped the class in the first semester. They wanted to go online. 3 of them returned this semester. Mr. A, can I go back to your class? I'm learning nothing. So please encourage them to do in person, because they're gonna socialize even more with their classmates. So Miss Bellman is a French teacher. She's a native from France. So what better teacher to learn French from? And this is me, Mr. Aparicio. I'm a native from Spain. And then we have very quickly the AP Spanish Literature. This course builds up on AP Language. You need to take first AP Language in order to take AP Literature. It's a very rigorous and challenging course. It's also taught in 100% in Spanish, but in this case, it's designed to get the highest level of literary analysis. It's a step higher in the pathway. So you are going to improve the students are going to improve the Spanish language skills, and they're going to be prepared for the AP exam. But they need to dive into Spanish literature and Latin American literature, reading books, reading poetry, different genres, different kind of texts, different authors, and it's gonna be more challenging. But once you take AP Spanish language literature and you pass the exam, you're gonna be ready for the class if you accept the challenge. You also have 6 themes. I didn't have the chance to translate it into English. Sorry about that, but very quickly, it's society that's in contact, the duality of being, interpersonal relationships, literary creation, time and space, and the construction of gender. So that's mostly it. Let me think just a little bit of the authors students can expect to read on their work, which is Cervantes, which is the Spanish Shakespeare, by the way. So it's a different Spanish than current Spanish, like English from the 16th century. It has nothing to do with current English. And many more authors. Gabriel García Márquez, probably you will know him, from Cien Años de Soledad, 100 of Solitude. Also Jorge Luis Borges, Pablo Neruda, Isabel Allende, Alfonsina Storme, etc., etc., etc. I encourage you to let your children, they have a good opportunity if they want to take AP language or AP literature. They're gonna be in very good hands here at TAM, and probably they're gonna learn a lot that is gonna be very helpful for the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alberto. We have 3 more presentations, and we're quickly approaching 7 o'clock. But let's give our remaining attention to STEMinist and teacher leader of applied technology, Kelly Kennedy. Come on down, Ms. Kennedy. I'm going to put your first slide on.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. So this was something that I showed last year when we reintroduced engineering and architecture to TAM. We will be offering those courses again next year, so I'm excited about that. But I am here to talk about the AP Computer Science options. It's my 11th year here, and I've been teaching AP Computer Science since I've been here, so let's hope I still know what I'm talking about. Okay. Nope. I don't seem to know how to use the technology, ironically. So AP Computer Science Principles was designed about 8 or 9 years ago by a college professor at Berkeley who was seeing a serious lack of diversity in computer science. And he designed this course to be an introductory course. So it is designed for students who have never learned computer science, and sadly, a lot of our students haven't. A lot of these kids just haven't learned computer science at the lower grade levels yet. So the course has no prerequisites. It is project-based, and this year we've been focusing a lot on what's called block-based programming, which is a way for kids to build interactive apps in a color-coded way with blocks that they can drag and drop. It makes it a lot easier for kids to learn coding because they don't have to perfectly type the code. They can actually build really cool apps by dragging and dropping the constructs into a design interface, and then they can get this really cool output that isn't as difficult as having to like hand type that code. And that's been, I think, giving Ms. Brooker and I a lot of success in teaching the course because, again, it takes some of the frustration out of initially learning how to code and learning computer science. And then the cool thing about this, this course is that we also cover other topics around computer technology. So we look at how the internet works, we look at cybersecurity, we look at how computers work and how they store bits and bytes and read those numbers as actual, human-friendly numbers that we're used to working with in mathematics. We give extension problems to students who need to go above and beyond. So even though it's an introductory course, I have a lot of kids that code a lot on the weekends and are real coders, and I love that. I always joke with them that I'm not. I actually prefer to be in a wood shop instead of coding over the weekend, but fortunately I can teach the courses, and I've done a lot of coding before. The AP score is based on a 70 multiple choice question assessment. It's 2 hours. That covers all of the computer science topics that we cover in the course, including coding topics in pseudocode, which is kind of the fake code that the College Board came up with to test students on coding constructs in a way that allows us to choose the language that we teach in. And apologies for this because we've been doing block-based coding more so than Python this year. We are going to teach students Python towards the end of the year, but the block-based programming has been really successful for students, and they can submit the apps that they build for 30% of their AP score in this block-based programming language. So everything we've been doing has been preparing them to submit that project to the digital portfolio in May, and then they write about the project as well. Nope, still don't got it. Here we go. And then AP Computer Science A fulfills a C elective math credit. It's actually considered a math class according to the UCs. Computer Science Principles is considered a D elective science credit. And so, we are offering math and science in computer science, imagine that. And then there's no prerequisites for this course either. I have a lot of students that jump into this class without taking computer science principles. They're very successful in the course. This is a great class for students who have taken computer science principles and are loving it and want to keep coding. And all we do in this class is code. And this is a course where we handwrite code, where we type code. Handwriting code on a piece of paper wouldn't do much. Wouldn't get us anywhere. But where we type code, and it can be really frustrating for that reason because coding is not forgiving. If you make one small mistake, it throws a bunch of errors, and even the errors aren't very descriptive in what the problem actually is. So this can be a challenging class for some of my students that are moving from computer science principles to AP Computer Science A. But because they're interested in the class and knowing that it still is a very hard course, I do make this course very manageable for them. I don't assign a lot of homework in either of the 2 AP options because I recognize that a lot of students are taking AP courses in the core classes or just they're taking on a very rigorous course load. And so I really like to keep these classes project-based and manageable for them so that we can continue to encourage their interest in computer science. So it is still project-based. The really cool thing about this course for students that are really interested in STEM is that it fulfills the introductory computer science prerequisite to most STEM-based majors. I would have loved to have this class in high school and gotten that prerequisite out of the way so that I could focus on three-dimensional building and not on coding. And again, I love teaching coding, I love to code, but I don't do it as much on the weekends as even some of my students. So passing that AP exam fulfills that prerequisite, and then the AP score is based on multiple choice questions that are difficult, where students are are asked about the Java programming language. The whole course focuses on the Java programming language, and then there are 4 free response questions where students, it used to be that they have to handwrite code just last year, and I should have changed that. They switched to the digital version, so they actually type out the code for the problems that they do, which is a major benefit, because that's literally what they're doing in the course when they code. So I think that I've covered all the basics. I'm looking at this slide deck, and I think I'm good. I would ask for questions, but that's not appropriate. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Miss Portuguese Brennan, we've got a seat for you. And this next teacher, I can't remember his name. Is it Brandon or Bill or Ben Cleveland, head of drama? Come on over, sir.
Thank you, sir. Here you are.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ben Cleveland, class of 1984, Park School, Mill Valley Middle School. Also, proud Mill Valley kid. And my students, my own 2 children also went through TAM. The school district has 5 National Merit Scholars this year who are seniors. 2 of them, yes, snaps. 2 of them took all these courses you've heard about, and they're seniors, but these 2 are also 4-year students in drama. And they're next door tonight, running the show and producing the One Act Festival. So drama is absolutely audition free, no prerequisites. Students can be on take honors courses in drama as sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Your junior and senior year in drama, you can take 2 honors courses. Honors directing, where you're guiding younger peers. And as a junior and senior, you can keep going. Honors directing can be a 3-year track, great for the GPA. And then junior and senior year, you can also jump into Honors Advanced Drama 5-6, and then as a senior, Honors Advanced Drama 7-8. Today, I had a junior talking to the freshman about honors, and someone said, is it really difficult? And this student, who's a junior, and he's also on the baseball and soccer team, he said, it's not that difficult, but it's the class where I feel the most responsibility. And this junior, who's on the baseball and soccer team, is guiding 9th graders through 2 public-facing play projects. He's choosing the play, casting the play, designing the play, figuring out strategies to reach every one of his 5 freshman actors, and they're performing tonight. So drama is collaborative, and it's so real world. We say if you can run a theater, you can do anything. I'll be around to talk afterwards.
Click it the other way. Show your pretty pictures. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going.
Am I going? I got it. Let me go. Here.
I got it. There it is. See, you did it.
I did it. Thank you, Ben. Yep.
I won't be able to do it. Hi, I'm Zach Gilmore. I'm the visual arts, representing the visual arts. I am also at the end, and the show is already over. This is the after show. So the visual arts, we actually have, let's see if I can get it right. Nope. See, I got it wrong. But then I got it right. Here's all our lovely offerings. We actually have 7 offerings in the visual arts, because we are very lucky to have ceramics, drawing, painting, photography, and AP art history. Okay, so lots to choose from. And when it comes to ceramics, draw, paint, and photography, we have both honors and we have AP. Now here's the thing. For ceramics, draw, paint, and photography, those honors and AP classes are junior, senior classes. But my students, amazing. Why wouldn't they want to take 4 years of art then? Why would they want to jump ahead and stop taking art in their sophomore year because they take AP, which they can't, but because I would never let them. The point is that both the honors and AP are basically a portfolio class. You're making a portfolio of work. And being an artist is a lifelong effort, not a 1 or 2 or 3 semester thing. And so you want to just do it as much as you can. So that's why I say you're not going to jump ahead. AP Art History, we actually offer it for sophomores, juniors, seniors. I will say sophomores have the least priority. because they have more chances. And that's there. What is it all about? As I said, portfolio, honors and AP is really about more and more of the students creating their own voice and seeing what they can do. Two things I'll say, and because I want to keep it sort of short for you all. But one, anyone can take these, even if they come to us later. We'd love to have them for 4 years because they're going to have the best possible experience. But because of all these offerings that TAM has, it gets tight. And so if a junior or a senior goes, you know, I did all these other things and wow, I really would like to do this at this point, come talk to us. If you show the interest, we're probably going to say yes, because we want you to have this opportunity. 2, I think I'm going to go for 3 things. The second thing is that this isn't just for the person who wants to go to art school. More of my students who do 4 years with me in drawing and painting don't go on to art school. They go on to become doctors and other things. This is their piece where they can think a different way in their day. We talked about balance at the beginning of the program. This is balance. So I really encourage people to think about that for their kids at any point, is how do you keep their balance in their day of how they're using their brain. Very lastly, AP, great idea. Do a portfolio of work that shows who you are or something you're passionate about visually. Cool. The test, paying the money, unlike I think most of the other APs, I don't think it's the most important part of it. Because why would you want to lose an elective in college? I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to leave it there if you'd like to talk to me later.
Thank you, Mr. Gilmore. It is 7:02. Let's go until 7:12. If folks have any questions, joining us in mathematics is Miss Portuguese Brennan. She's covering for Miss Brinkley. Is there a parent or a guardian who wants to ask the first question, if there are any? We were that comprehensive. I see a hand right here, please. Yes.
For kids with IEPs, are there text-to-voice or audio options for the reading?
The question is, for kids with IEPs, is there accommodation and voice-to-text for reading?
Yes, short answer, yes. All of our teachers are very used to kids having accommodations, one of them being audiobooks, you know what I mean? And so our special ed teachers have those tools and they can be applied to AP classes as well, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of our kids with IEPs take AP and honors classes.
Yeah, this is for Ben. I saw in the course guide that the honors theater courses have a concurrent enrollment with stagecraft. Are those 2 separate courses? So like 2 electives you're taking, or is it essentially one course?
Kind of the way AIM is a sequence of courses together.
Yeah.
A student can be in drama for 1, 2, 3, or 4 years. When they get in their 2nd, 3rd, and 4th year, they can choose to bundle multiple. But for juniors are, a junior could do beginning drama if they're playing 3 sports and are super busy. But most juniors begin with 7th period honors advanced drama 5, 6. And the course that is scheduled right along with it is Stagecraft 1, 2. Soon I'll be giving the sophomores that are going on a menu, and it says, here's your 7 shows for your junior year, and they open each month. Mark an X on at least 2 of them. We then find out that Tim is free for these shows. Only then do the drama teachers go and find the plays to fit the students' requests and schedule. So I know in April of 2027, we're directing Clue, with a cast of 20. And in a year and a half from now, I'm doing Our Town. So we know the numbers of kids, and then we customize for them. But they do go together. The junior and senior level of drama works easily with 2 sports or mock trial.
Then, can you clarify that stagecraft is not during the 1 through 7 period?
Sure. My student, Lem, is a senior, and this week he started rehearsals on Great Expectations. It's going to go into the springtime. And the whole project is after school. And Lem chose this one because it worked with his schedule. So we're going to have rehearsals on Tuesdays and Wednesdays for 2 hours after school, Friday for 2 hours after school, and on Saturdays for 3 hours. And that's his after-school credit course. But EP, go to 4-year schools all the time, and they're working on Broadway and the West End, and I've got 4 doctors at UCSF who should have gone to acting school, but they didn't.
Say how you really feel.
What AP classes are included in the AIM program?
Okay, also one more thing just to clarify on the drama classes. Theater production and stagecraft classes are after school. They're periods 8, 9. They're not through the 1 through 7, so they don't have to get in the way of any other electives you might want to take. Just putting that out there. As for AIM, so AIM is a 2-year program, and it includes 3 courses each year. Your English, your social studies, and then a documentary film class. For juniors, they all take AP English Language Composition for their English class. And then with the social studies classes, US History and Gov Econ, they toggle. They just switch off every other year. So next year is going to be US History, if I'm not mistaken. And US History within AIM has 2 options. There's regular US History, or there's Honors US History. By the way, when I said earlier, that Honors US History is brutal, it's also amazing, putting that out there. Ms. Scharf is an excellent teacher, and it's awesome, but just know that you gotta love history to do the honors component of it, but you can choose which one you wanna do. So, juniors, AP English Language Composition and US History. Seniors, AP English Literature and Gov Econ. Both years have a documentary film class, but there is no AP or honors version for Gov and Econ. Sound good?
For the science classes, there's some choices that you can have for sophomore and junior year, but do you take the AP courses or the honors courses in addition to the regular requirements, so then you're taking 2 sciences for the year?
Yeah, that's correct. So you have to satisfy the graduation requirements, which are fun. So physics in the universe, the living earth course, and then chemistry in the earth. But you could sign up for as many other science classes you wanted that fill those elective slots as long as you satisfy those graduation requirements. So we have a lot of students who are concurrently, I have a lot of juniors right now who are enrolled in chemistry in the earth and are also in my AP environmental science class, and I have some who are even in marine bio and AP bio as well. So yeah, we've got a lot of kids who traditionally take a lot of science courses in school because we offer some awesome ones.
For the math program, the honors advanced algebra, for a student who doesn't traditionally feel like math is their strongest area, but they're meeting the grade requirements as the prerequisites, would you say that's a good enough indicator that they'll perform well, or is it genuinely more based on a passion for math and wanting to push yourself harder?
That's a very good question. I would say that it's important to be passionate about it. Also, I know the general guidelines is to get a B or an A in geometry and a B and A in Algebra 1, but it's also very important to remember the Algebra 1. And right now, I see some students who have forgotten the Algebra 1. So we're reviewing, and we give them a lot of tools to review, a lot of surveys, a lot of feedback on what they need to review. And some of them are passionate and they review and then they show improvement, and others are not that passionate and they don't review. So I think passion has to be part of it to do well. because it's going to get challenging. Ms. Brinley at times uses a book, but sometimes she does not use a book. And students have to be very well versed at writing and reading math. For some reason, maybe because of technology, kids don't like to read math books that much anymore. So part of our training is to get them used to reading. And certainly if the kids are already used to reading, they tend to do better. But reading comes with passion. They have to want to read the math book. So I would say passion helps. Yeah.
We have time for one more question in the far back, sir.
Yeah, how can we know which of the honors and AP courses are lower division and don't get the grade bump?
Okay, so yeah, we actually don't offer any other honors classes that are lower division with the exception of honors advanced algebra. We got rid of all of our other lower division honors courses. So putting that out there. It's the only one, everything else gets it.
Thank you, families, so much for your investment in our school, for your attendance tonight. And parents, can we put our hands together for these hardworking teachers? Thank you, teacher leaders. Have a good evening and go Hawks. Thank you again.